My name's Sean Humphreys. I'm Director of Black Rabbit Architecture and Interiors. I had the pleasure of working with Frank Templeton from Templeton Built. Where do we start? I think we start by walking down a track and then a crazy drop and me freaking out in the back of my mind that we're going to have a really hard time of making something work. And does Frank know what he's getting himself into? And then 3.5 years later, we're sitting here and we're talking about something that's bloody amazing. And walking up from the street, when we first saw the block, it just kind of ambled, it was unassuming, it wasn't really defined. There was some crazy stringy pines down the east end side. You could see there was something kind of brewing in the background. You clip the treetops, there was these birches, and you're like, wow. You didn't know whether this block was 600 square metres or it was 6,000 square metres. And so how does the house unfold? It tries to do the same thing. We start from the street, we try to be unassuming, we try not to give everything up. We try to bring you in, let you crest that little bump that's still there and see the treetops, see the house. The house sits there as this cheeky barrier that stops you from getting that massive reveal that we first had when we came onto the site. And as you meander your way through, the house sets up a bunch of views and openings to reveal itself and reveal the landscape that's kind of rushing in behind it. And just like the first experience, it falls away from you. You're hovering in the treetops, you're surrounded by an awesome serenity. The whole house, from top to bottom, every room has this kind of little moment where you get to glimpse outside. And some of those moments are really precious and unique, and others are far more letting you have a little bit more, letting you see a little bit more, letting you feel a little bit more of the outside as it kind of pulls its way inside. But we wanted it to be a home for two, with the capacity to be more. We wanted to feel like we weren't going to be fishbowling. We wanted to feel like we weren't going to be rattling around. We wanted to feel like we could be in the treetops. We wanted to feel like all the serenity that we appreciate on the site when we saw it, that Frank and Sharon experienced when they thought about buying it. We could capture all that and pay it forward. Looking at the silver on the beech trees, and then I'm looking at the amazing pairing with the kind of elephant skin bricks and thinking we nailed it. Whilst that might sound incredibly arrogant, the reality is we thought about it. We thought, man, that brick is beautiful and it's not perfect and it changes in the light, and it's got this softness about it that allows us to have something that's hard, solid, masonry, not going anywhere forever, but softened by the fact that it also ties in beautifully with something that's kind of almost ephemeral. You get this tree that's kind of moving slightly and it's growing and changing, and it changes its colours in the light. From there we kind of anchored the rest of the material palette. Really heavy on interiors and bringing the outside in, so a lot of the design revolves around drawing some of that brickwork into the main space, picking up oak tones in the flooring and kind of dragging those tones out of the kind of subtle, kind of warm nuances within that brickwork, and then playing tricks. We wrap the floorboard onto the ceiling. We draw the external cementitious skin back into the space. And then there's the beautiful pop of the joinery.
Birch Road Residence and living in the hills, there's a real sense of community. On a Sunday morning we might pack up the trailer and go down to the wood yard, and we'll go and get all of our wood for our fireplace. I'm Sharon Templeton and I live at the Birch Road Residence. This area reminds me of when we first bought the block. It was 3.5 years ago and the block was very, very rocky and it was just full of these beautiful trees. My husband and I would often grab a couple of deck chairs and we would go down to the middle of the block and we'd grab a drink and we would just sit and listen to the birds. And it was the most surreal feeling of just sitting there. When we explained that to Black Rabbit, this area here is like being in our 2 deck chairs looking out, because looking out is the same view as what it was like. This is our deck chair spot. It's beautiful, yeah.
The thing about Birch Road was that when we first thought about the idea of maybe moving from the beach, which is where we were, we actually went away to Switzerland. We went on this amazing walk and found our way through an ancient gorge and came across this beautiful scene of beech trees and open sort of forest, and we just loved it. We just sat there for ages, just enjoying the moment. It was something that stuck with us for a long time, and then when we came back, seeing this block and thought, this actually looks very similar to what we saw in Switzerland, and came up here, walked on the blocks. This place is incredible. We are immediately in love. This was the exact same as what we experienced there. I think that's the big thing. It's what gets you here is the feel of what this block brings and this property brings is something that's not easily replicable. My name's Frank Templeton. I'm the builder of our own home and the lover of our own home. Part of my brief to Sean was that this house had to respond to the fact that we live, I like to cook outdoors. What you see behind me is my baby. It's like something I use 3 times a week. I love to cook outdoors and I know that the issues that the hills presents when it comes to being outdoors, and so part of what we needed was some way of being able to live in and out, and the ability to be able to have exactly this was an extremely important part of my list of wants. I think what they've done is managed to achieve it just perfectly. And the second part, of course, is the golf simulator, because I'm a golfer. It's a huge part of my life, and I've travelled all over the world, and I had the chance to play some amazing golf courses, and I can literally go downstairs underground and go play those places again. It's something that I've always dreamed about doing, and that's why this house for us is, and me personally, is just the most exceptional place, because it has all those things that I love. I don't need anything else.